Every time the prisoner finished taking his medicine, he would surreptitiously spit it out when the guard wasn't paying attention. Then, after confirming no one was around, he would take out the antibiotics he had purchased at a high price, tied the bottle with a fishing line he had stolen, with the other end tied to his back molar. When everything was ready, the man immediately put the bottle into his mouth and swallowed it into his stomach without any hesitation. Next, he dismantled a lighter, leaving only the flint, and hid it under his fingernail. After doing all this, he tied his wrist with a shoelace and placed his thumb on the edge of the table. With the simultaneous force of his right foot and wrist, his thumb was immediately dislocated on the spot. Despite the piercing pain, the man clenched his teeth and didn't dare make a sound because he knew this was his only chance to escape from prison. The man had been sentenced to life in prison for killing someone. He thought he would have to stay in prison for the rest of his life, but soon the situation took a turn. The police chief Johnson was diagnosed with leukemia, and only the man's bone marrow matched. Left with no choice, John had to ask the man for help, hoping he would donate his bone marrow. To John's surprise, the man agreed immediately after hearing the request. However, there was a prerequisite. He had to be allowed to smoke in prison and have free access to the library. John didn't expect the conditions to be so simple, so he agreed on the spot. Little did he know that he had already fallen into the man's trap. Smoking wasn't the man's real purpose. What he really needed was the flint inside. Going to the library to read books was just a cover-up, with the real goal of stealing detailed structural diagrams of the hospital. When everything was ready, the man was escorted by numerous guards to the hospital where John's son was. However, since his hands were handcuffed, he couldn't retrieve the bone marrow from his back. While everyone was discussing a solution, the man had already quietly delivered the bottle containing the antibiotics to his mouth. Then, at the doctor's insistence, the man's handcuffs were removed and he was tied to the bed. Anesthesia was immediately administered to begin the procedure. Unbeknownst to them, the man had already crushed the bottle with his teeth and swallowed all the antibiotics inside. Soon the doctor noticed something unusual. According to various vital signs, the man had not fallen into an unesthetized state at all. But just as everyone was preparing to anesthetize him again, the man had already begun his own action.